The law of prehistory. Hunt or be hunted. When the giant egg trembles, the boundary between life and death is as thin as a hair.
The whole tribe confronts the 1,000-year-old monster. One wrong step, the entire race will be wiped out.
On the vast savanna, where ancient baobab trees stretch their branches to cover a corner of the sky. The life of the prehistoric tribe unfolds in a primitive and fierce rhythm. Mushroom-shaped grass huts rise amidst the red earth, surrounded by herds of giraffes leisurely grazing on leaves from above, creating a deceptive, peaceful scene. There, every breath is an effort. Every meal must be paid for with sweat and blood. One sunny morning, a woman from among the dry thorn bushes, she accidentally discovered a strange object. It was a giant egg, its rough outer shell covered in moss and cracks of time,
lying isolated like a forgotten rock.
Her eyes lit up. In that woman's mind, this egg was an endless source of nutrition for the entire... Stuck in a nearby mud puddle. Seizing that moment, the girl rushed towards the village, her alarm cries tearing through the savanna's silence. The breathless chase began. The girl fled with urgency, her ragged breath mixing with an ominous, low sound. Stuck in a nearby mud puddle. Seizing that moment, the girl rushed towards the village, her alarm cries tearing through the savanna's silence.
The breathless chase began. The girl fled with urgency, her ragged breath mixing with an ominous, low sound.
The tribe's reaction was instantaneous. The men sharpening stones immediately dropped their work, gripping their long spears. Women and youths grabbed the sharpest stones. They did not flee. They rushed out like a whirlwind towards the swamp to protect their comrades and their livestock. At the mud puddle, the scene was terrifying. The python had tightly coiled around the poor calf, its wide mouth full of backward-pointing fangs ready to swallow everything.
Attack! Attack! The battle erupted. The bravest hunters rushed into the encirclement.
Mud splashing onto the tanned bodies of the brave humans. Shouts echoed, stones clashed, and the monster's painful hisses. The stone spears impacted the creature's formidable, shiny black scales with repeated force, testing their incredible resilience. Mud splashing onto the tanned bodies of the brave humans. Shouts echoed, stones clashed, and the monster's painful hisses. The stone spears impacted the creature's formidable, shiny black scales with repeated force, testing their incredible resilience, as hard as cold steel.
It collapsed into the mud puddle, its last breath dissolving into the air. As dusk fell, painting the sky red, the tribe together dragged the monster's carcass back to the village. That night, by the sacred fire flickering with smoke, the fragrant smell of roasted meat spread throughout the air.
Laughter, stories of the heroic battle echoed endlessly.
Amidst the darkness of the ancient savanna, fraught with danger, humans learned a bitter lesson.
The strongest weapon lies not in the spear or the stone, but in teamwork and an unyielding will to survive. Thunder tore across the sky. Rain poured down, when the line between hunter and prey blurred in the white rain. Have you ever seen hope bloom on cracked land? This is not just a race against harsh nature, but a story of the sacred bond of the first humans on Earth. The story begins in a dry savanna, where the ground was cracked due to severe water scarcity. The distant sky was filled with dark gray clouds and lightning tearing across the sky, signaling an approaching storm. Inside the makeshift hut built from branches and dry grass, two prehistoric men sat facing each other. They seemed to be discussing a journey to find food before the storm hit. After agreeing, both stepped out of the hut. One stood observing the horizon, pointing towards the distant bushes, where hope for sustenance still remained. They began to stride across the dry ground. Along the way, wild nature appeared in all its forms.
The warthog herd was diligently digging through the hard soil to find roots.
White birds perched on a dry branch, squawking and competing with each other. Even the image of nature reflected, where a white bird was calmly perched on a dry branch. The two prehistoric men walked, laughing and talking incessantly. They put their arms around each other, pointing out strange phenomena in the sky and on the ground, showing a strong community bond. After a while of searching, their eyes suddenly lit up when they discovered a bush full of ripe red berries.
This is the precious fruit in the dead land. Not just them.
Other species like monkeys, herons, and black crows are also coming to this feast. The two prehistoric men approached the bush with extreme eagerness.
They carefully picked each cluster of berries, admiring them like precious gems. When they tasted it, the sweet and juicy flavor of the fruit made them close their eyes in enjoyment.
Their lips were stained with crimson berry juice. They didn't eat alone, but shared together.
Eating and laughing, forgetting the heat and the harshness of the surrounding nature. However, the weather changed rapidly. As they were busy searching among the juicy bushes, thunder began to roar and the first raindrops fell on the thirsty land. The rain quickly turned into a violent downpour. From within the misty rain, a pack of fierce hyenas appeared. They rushed through the mud with bloodthirsty looks. Realizing imminent danger, the two prehistoric men fled in a hurry. They ran through muddy puddles. Their bare feet stomped hard on the waterlogged ground. As they ran, they kept looking back in fear, shouting continuously to warn each other. Amidst the storm, all creatures sought shelter. Large birds used their wide wings to shield their young from the cold rainwater. The hyena pack also had to stop, huddling under large trees to avoid the lightning strike nearby. Under small rock crevices, a wet pack of field mice huddled together for warmth. After a while of racing with death, the two prehistoric men finally saw their familiar hut, appearing through the white rain. They exerted all their strength, rushing inside the shelter of branches and dry grass. Outside, rain continued to fall on the lush green leaves, bringing new life to the grassland.
After long days of drought,